Sai Ram students, welcome to the first session of chapter 3, that is properties of natural resources. Now, what are the three natural resources? The three natural resources are air, water and land, which you had learned last year, right children? So the three important natural resources are air, water and land. Now why are these called as the natural resources? Air, water and land. These are the factors important for sustaining the living world on the earth and for fulfilling the basic needs. That's the reason they are called as the natural resources. Why they are called as natural resources? Air, water and land. These are the three factors important for sustaining the living world on the earth and for fulfilling their basic needs. That's the reason they are called as the natural resources. So now in this chapter we are going to see the properties of these natural resources. So first we'll start with the properties of air. So you all know air is all around us. We cannot see air, but we can only feel the presence of air. But how do we feel its presence? When we inhale, air is taken through our nose. When we blow on our hand through lips, we feel the presence of air. So, children, air, it is present all around us, but we cannot see air. We can only feel its presence. And how do we feel its presence? When we inhale, air is taken through nose. And when we blow on our hands through our lips, we can feel the air. Let's discuss the properties of the air through some experiments. Take a stick from a broom or a straw and then tie it with a thread and hang it such that it remains in the horizontal position. Now you are going to take two balloons and then you are going to tie it to the two ends of the straw. So and then you are going to observe the position. So when you observe the position, you will see that the balloon, it still remains in the horizontal position. Now you are going to take one side of the balloon and you are going to inflate it. That means you are going to blow the balloon. And then after blowing the balloon, you are going to again tie it back to its original position. So after tying it back to the original position, what you are going to see, that the stick which is there, it will go on down on the side of the balloon as it is showed on the screen. So it will go down on the side of the balloon because when you have blown the balloon, it has got weight. So that's why it has gone down. Right children? So that means you have filled air in the balloon. So from this experiment, we can conclude that air has got weight. Right children? I hope you have understood this experiment. So what is there in this experiment? You are taking a stick from a broom or a straw and you are tying a thread at the center and you are hanging it such that it remains in the horizontal position. After that, you are taking two balloons and you are going to attach it to the two ends of the stick. So still that time when you observe, still the stick, it remains in the horizontal position. Then you are going to take one side of the balloon and you are going to blow it and you are going to tie it back to the original position. So when you tie it back to the original position, what happens? The stick, it goes down on the side of the inflated balloon. So from this, we can infer or we can conclude that air has got weight. Right children? So the properties of the air is air has got weight, air is a mixture of gases, and air has got mass and weight. Right, children? The properties of air are air is a mixture of gases and air has got both mass and weight. Let's discuss about the next experiment, children. You are going to take an injection syringe but without the needle. So you can see here the picture of the injection syringe. So this backside portion is called as the piston and this portion is called as the hole, inlet hole, where the needle is inserted. So what you are going to do, you are going to pull out the piston and then you are going to release it. So the piston will go easily inside. Now you are going to close the inlet hole of the syringe with the thumb. You can see here. So tightly you are going to close the inlet hole of the syringe. So and then you are going to pull the piston out. As you can see over the figure over here, we will pull the piston out and then again you will release it. So what happens when you are pulling the piston out, what happens? More air space becomes available in the syringe and it becomes rarefied. Rarefied means it gets less oxygen, whereas the air which is present outside, it is very high. The pressure of the air outside is very high. So what happens? The syringe, it can easily go inside and it can come out. So you can repeat these experiments by keeping the injection syringe in the vertical position, in the horizontal position, or in the inclined position. Inclined position, I told you children, it's like a seesaw or your slide. So whichever position you keep the injection syringe, the atmospheric pressure, it will be same in all the directions. So with this experiment, you can conclude that the atmospheric pressure, it is the same in all the directions. So what did we discuss in this experiment, children? We took an injection syringe and then we without the needle, and then we pulled out the piston and then allowed it to go inside. Right? After that, we closed the inlet hole of the syringe tightly with the thumb and then again we pulled the piston out and then allowed it to go inside. So what happened? More air space becomes available inside and it becomes rarefied. That means it gets less amount of oxygen, whereas the pressure of the air outside is very high. So with this, we can conclude that the atmospheric pressure is the same in all the directions. If you keep the syringe in either vertical, horizontal, or in inclined position, all the positions, if you keep the atmospheric pressure, it will be same in all the directions. So I hope children you have understood about this experiment. Now, what is atmospheric pressure? Molecules of the gases in the air are in constant motion. When these molecules strike a body, they create pressure on the body. The pressure of the air is called as atmospheric pressure. So, what is atmospheric pressure? Molecules of the gases in the air, they are in constant motion. That means they are continuously moving. When these molecules, they strike a body, they create pressure on the body. And this pressure of the air is called as atmospheric pressure. Let's move to the next part. So as I told you, atmospheric pressure, it is same in all the directions. Now, under ordinary conditions, the atmospheric pressure at sea level is about 1,01,400 newtons per square meter. and you can measure this with the help of a barometer. As we go higher above the sea level, the atmospheric pressure, it decreases. So what is given in this slide? It's given that the atmospheric pressure at sea level is about 1,01,400 newtons per square meter under the ordinary conditions, means normal conditions, and you can measure this with the help of a barometer. As we go higher above the sea level, the atmospheric pressure, it goes on decreasing. Now, in 1726, there was a Swedish scientist, Daniel Bernoulli, who put forth the important principle that the pressure of the air decreases when its velocity increases, while the pressure of the air increases when its velocity decreases. Right, children? So you can see there was a scientist called as the Daniel Bernoulli. He was a Swedish scientist. So he made an important principle that when the pressure of the air decreases, the velocity increases. Whereas when the pressure of the air increases, its velocity decreases. If a body is moving through the air pressure decreases perpendicular to the direction of the motion, and then the air in its surroundings flows rapidly from higher pressure to lower pressure. So what happens if a body, it is moving through the air pressure, it decreases. How does it decrease? Perpendicular to the direction of the motion, and then the air which is there in its surrounding, it flows rapidly from the higher pressure to lower pressure. Now children, we are going to see one more experiment, that is fountain of water. Now this fountain of water, it works on Daniel Bernoulli's principle. So what is there in this principle? Let's see. So what is there? You have to take a glass filled with water, and then you have to hold a straw in the upright position. Right, children? So you can see here, this is the upright position. Then you have to take another small piece of straw, that is, this is the another small piece of straw. Right, children? So you are going to take this small piece of straw and you are going to hold it at the upper end of the erect straw. So in such a way that they are perpendicular to each other. So you can see this position, this is perpendicular to each other. Right, children? So now after keeping this in this position, you are going to blow the air from this one end of the piece of the straw. So when you blow hard from this end of the straw, what happens? The open end of the straw, here there is air present. So the air which is present near the open end of the straw, it is pushed away, and hence the pressure of the air at the opening, it goes down. Right, children? So as the pressure of the air near the upper end of the erect straw is less than the atmospheric pressure, the water which is there down, it comes up. Right, children? So, and the water which comes up, it comes in the form of a fountain. So the more hard you blow, or the more forcefully you blow, you will see a larger fountain. So this fountain, it works on Bernoulli's principle. So what is Bernoulli's principle? It is in the form of an experiment wherein you are taking a glass of water and you are putting a straw in it, and then you are taking another small piece of straw and you are placing it in such a way that both the straws are perpendicular to each other. Now, when you blow hard from one end of the small piece of straw, the air which is present near the upper end of the straw is pushed away, and the pressure of the air at the opening, it goes down. So as the pressure of the air at the upper end of the erect straw is less than the atmospheric pressure, the water which is there in the cup, it comes up in the form of a fountain. So that's the reason it is called as Bernoulli's principle. So what was in Bernoulli's principle? The scientist's important principle was, when the pressure of the air decreases, the velocity increases, and when the pressure of the air increases, the velocity decreases. So same case is there in this experiment. Right, children? So this is the same thing what I have explained you. So students, let's recap what we have learnt in today's session. In today's session, we saw about the 3 natural resources. So what are the 3 natural resources? Air, water and land. Why they are called as natural resources, that also we saw, because they are the important factor for sustaining the living world and for fulfilling our basic needs. Then we saw the property of air with the help of an experiment of the balloon. Now in this balloon experiment, we concluded that air has got mass and weight, and air, it is a mixture of gases. Then we saw a second experiment of an injection syringe, wherein the needle was not there at the inlet hole. From this experiment, we concluded that the atmospheric pressure, it is same in all the directions. Then we saw about the atmospheric pressure at the sea level, which can be measured with the help of a barometer. Then we saw about the scientist Daniel Bernoulli, his important principle that the air pressure, when the air pressure decreases, the velocity increases, and when the air pressure increases, the velocity decreases. So with the help of an experiment called as fountain of water, Daniel Bernoulli, he explained his principle. So this was all in the today's session. So children, meet you in the next session. There is an assignment given. Please do the same. Till then, goodbye.